This video will go over how to troubleshoot specific SEDD errors in FUDSChem that may require involvement from the contractor or USACE. For this video, we have already uploaded and screened a file under Tools, Data Submission. For more information on submitting SEDD files to FUDSChem, please refer to our Laboratory SEDD Submission tutorial video, linked in the description. Click the number of errors to access the error report. Like our other reports, you can save this report in various formats by clicking the floppy disk icon or print it by clicking the printer icon. Let's look at the SPPSE01L field ID and SPPSE01L field ID test leach errors. Oftentimes, these two errors are caused by the same thing, and solving one will solve the other. The error report tells us that the samples in the SEDD must agree with the ones requested for analysis in the field information tables. This means there is a mismatch between what the contractor entered for the chain of custody, chem field, and what is contained in the SEDD file. This is an example of an error where it may be appropriate to involve the contractor. As the error tip directs, we can see what was entered for the field data, and therefore identify which fields don't match, by going to Reports, Data Validation and Submission Reports, Submitted Field Samples. Let's go there now. Select the correct project and event, then click View Report. We'll start comparing this table with the information from the error report. Use the search bar to look for a part of our sample name that came up in the error report, 466S. We can see that the sample name in the field data starts with CRB-, which is missing from the sample name in the SEDD file. At this point, we would look at the hard copy chain of custody. We must match the chain of custody exactly. If there is a typo in the SEDD file, then we will need to correct it. If we do match the COC, then we should reach out to the client and see if they can update the chem field. Let's say that, in addition to the mismatched sample name, we also had a mismatched method. Here in the error, we can see that our file contains prep method SW3050A for our metals analysis. Back in the submitted field samples report, the digitized chain of custody lists SW3050. This is a mismatch that we should have caught during the EQAP lab acknowledgement step. If the mismatch is not caught until SEDD submission, notify your client of the issue as soon as possible so they can determine a path forward. In some cases, the lab may be asked to reanalyze or report the data with the correct method code. In other cases, the discrepancy may be resolved by the client updating the EQAP and chem field to match what the lab is reporting. In this case, let's say that we recently changed our process from SW3050 to the more advanced SW3050A. It is appropriate to discuss with the client whether they would like to update the EQAP and chem field to reflect the more up-to-date prep method, or if we should update our file to use the more generic SW3050. Finally, the SPPSE01L invalid surrogate and SPPSE01L missing surrogate errors flag if our surrogates don't match the EQAP. Similar errors will flag if analytes are mismatched. In this case, we have a different surrogate, which means we are missing the requested surrogate from the EQAP, and have an invalid additional surrogate that is not requested by the EQAP. These errors would be resolved by adjusting the SEDD file to report the surrogate requested by the EQAP, and giving the client what they originally requested. However, there may be circumstances where this is not possible, in which case the client should be involved in deciding what to do next. The client may determine they would like to update the EQAP to accommodate the deviation. Alternatively, they may leave the analyte list as is and opt to change the error to a warning, which would require manual validation for the unexpected surrogate. However, if the surrogate in question is vital to the project, they may need you to reanalyze the sample with the correct analyte list. Note that error to warning requests are subject to core approval. For more information, please refer to our Exceptions to Screening Checks in FUDSChem video, linked in the description. To avoid these issues, it's vital to thoroughly review the EQAP during the lab acknowledgement phase. Careful review of analytical methods, prep methods, leach methods, matrices, and analyte lists are essential. For information on how to do so, please refer to our EQAP lab acknowledgement tutorial video, linked in the description. Let's also consider if a situation arises and the lab is no longer available to perform the requested analyses. In these cases, it is recommended to elevate the issue to the contractor right away, who can then elevate it to the core. The contractor and the core should both weigh in on any potential lab changes before they occur. If a lab change is approved, then it is recommended for the new lab to acknowledge the EQAP as well. If the EQAP has already been approved, then the lab acknowledgement interface will not list the project. As an alternative, the contractor can go to Reports, Environmental Setup Reports, Project Setup Combined, and export this for the new lab to review. This way, the new lab can see what they will be expected to report. The contractor, or core chemist, can optionally add a note in the EQAP Setup tool, documenting that the new lab has reviewed the EQAP. Don't forget to subscribe to the FUDSChem YouTube channel for more tutorial videos. All of the tutorials and playlists mentioned during this video are linked in the description below. Lastly, if you have questions or comments, feel free to contact us at fuds.support@synectics.net. Thank you.